Nestled at the foot of Victoria's highest peak, Mount Bogon, the area around the town of Mount Beauty is ideal for cycling and enjoying the great outdoors. In winter, it's a gateway to the ski field of Falls Creek, but in summer, it's a paradise for kayaking the Kiwa and pedalling the abundance of climbs on offer. For dirt lovers, the mountain bike park is as good as you'll find anywhere and has made Mount Beauty a destination for anyone looking for adventure or relaxation. Welcome back to the Subaru Australian Mountain Bike Championships. We are on lap 5 of the elite men's cross-country event, and it's Dan McConnell out in front, just having a little bit of a gap now opening up to Brendan Johnston, his Canberran teammate, friend. But at some point, guys, they're not going to be friends any longer. They've been together for quite a fair while now.
And look, we're seeing a change into third here. Paul van der Ploeg has made the move, and this is a bit of a change. He had a really rough sort of 12 to 18 months on the back of injury and hasn't been at the peak level in the long version of the sport. So interesting to see him in third.
Yeah, he's had some good, some solid results through the National Series with a podium or two. And he had a great breakaway at the Road National Champs as well, as another Australian mountain biker lighting that up.
Scott Bowden leading the under-23 race. Just a reminder, they started 5 minutes behind the elite men, but Scott has been able to pass quite a few of the elite riders. He's so fast, he's been competitive against these guys in the Elite National Series this year. And Johnston on the back wheel there of Dan McConnell coming up to cross the line. This is the 5th of 6 laps, so they will be hearing the bell as they come through. And will they be together next time?
Look, this is quite a bit unusual for someone to have stayed with Dan this long. On the national scene, lap 3 or 4, he makes the move. We don't really know what to expect at this point, Mike.
No, well, I mean, Brendan Johnston's doing what nobody else has been able to do for the past while, and he's riding with Dan McConnell in a very important race.
Well, Dan McConnell is the first Australian to win a World Cup since back in the 90s when it was Cadel Evans at the forefront of mountain biking for Australia. And about 2 minutes back now to third place, Paul van der Ploeg. Thumbs up from him. He had an incredible lap, the last 2 laps really, to get the better of Cameron Ivory, now putting himself back into the bronze medal position. There's a bit of concern about his health coming into these championships, but Paul van der Ploeg looks nice and strong.
And as we see in the final corner, Scott Bowden, he's had an amazing year, taking out the National Series title, and he's coming down the start-finish straight now to take out the Under-23 National Champions title to go with it.
Fantastic race by Scott. He just rode away from the rest of the field, had a face plant, won the race anyway.
We can see from your skin suit here that you had a crash on the first lap, yet still had a dominant performance.
Yeah, I made a bit of a mistake. I probably got a bit too excited at the start, and yeah, on the first descent, just before you drop down onto a fire trail, had a bit of an over the bars. Yeah, slid down on my chest and quickly managed to grab the bike. Thankfully, it was all good. Yeah, I managed to yeah, compose myself and relax, and yeah, had a good first lap and a pretty good start, and just tried to build on it from there and get into a good rhythm.
Hi, I'm Rob Eber from SRAM. We're going to spend a few seconds going over the latest innovation from SRAM. SRAM also owns a bunch of other companies, and one of them is RockShox, and we've brought the latest innovation of upside-down forks now to cross-country, which is really interesting. It's not the first time it's ever happened. It's happened before, but we've found a really good system to make the fork work really well, and it's tying in with the combination of the stiffness of the carbon crown and the hub. Not only does it look really cool and blends in with the bike really well, it works very well. So it's very stiff, it's very supple, but also takes the big hits very well. It's very good. But what we do is we try and flow onto the bike with the power meter into the 1x drivetrain, which we think is completely revolution mountain biking now. You've got a clutch rear derailleur in here, and also with the new Rise 60 wheels, it's a very stiff, strong, light race package.
On the final lap now of the Subaru Australian Mountain Bike Championships, and Dan McConnell finally is able to distance himself from Brendan Johnston. And you can see the under-23 riders that have been lapped by the elite men now, just pulling over to give them free run. And that gap now starting to open up, guys.
Sure is. I mean, it looks like Brendan's a bit under pressure, but and here's a big man, Paul van der Ploeg, riding in third. He's still coming through that back marker traffic, but it looks like he's got third place really well consolidated.
Well, Cameron Ivory, who was in third position, was run down by Van der Ploeg, but it was more a case of Cam actually slowing. The last few laps, his splits have been getting really blown out compared to Van der Ploeg, who's held a very good tempo. And speaking of tempos, incredible tempo riding by Dan McConnell out in front. Lap 4 and lap 5, there was only 1/10 of a difference in his lap times. That's how even and consistent he has been.
Well, as they say, there's only one gas, and that's full gas, and that's what Dan's been giving at this whole race.
And look, it's been a solid ride from Cam Ivory, descending down towards the finish. And in the straight, we see the Australian legend of mountain biking, the third-ranked rider in the world, is going to claim the national title yet again. He high-fives the crowd. Dan McConnell, the national champion for 2015.
Still a dominant performance from Dan. He didn't break away in the middle of the race like he has done before, but he still schooled everyone else.
And this is a landmark performance from Brendan Johnston. He rode with his friend for most of the race, and he's going to claim the silver today. Brendan Johnston at the National Championships.
And a big smile on his dial as well. Congratulations from his friend. He was glued to the back wheel of Dan McConnell for so much of the race. The bronze medal, it's going to go to Paul van der Ploeg. The big performance from the big rider from Mount Beauty, just over Toowoomba Gap, not far from here. Another great performance from him.
He said he wasn't sure of his health or his legs, but it looks like they worked for him today. Triumphant finish for the big man. But let's hear from our champion.
Well, Dan, that looked like a very controlled race. I'm sure it was less controlled than it appeared, but what an incredible victory.
Yeah, it was really good. Everything went really perfect, and you know, to be away with Trekkie really early, we were able just to sort of control the pace and really just dictate when we could, you know, put in the work and when we could just sort of recover a little bit. So, you know, I'm really happy to, you know, not just for myself, but for Trekkie to get second is awesome.
Were you getting nervous, though? The longer the race went on, the longer he stayed with you. You were worrying about what might happen if you could hang on right to the end? Oh,
yeah, you know, we were working pretty well together, and, you know, we kept the pace fairly consistent, and, you know, it was a really good race, and, you know, the track sort of is really hard to get away. There's not a lot of climbing, so, you know, you just have to keep it fairly consistent, and, you know, and then in the last lap I was able to sneak away on one of the climbs.
What does it mean, mate, to you? Another national championships. You're on the world scene now, ranked third in the world, yet you picked up a national title. What does it really mean for you?
Yeah, this one, I've never gone back-to-back before, so this one's sort of extra special. I've really wanted this one for the last couple of months, so, you know, to get a win and to be able to take the jersey overseas again, you know, I'm really passionate about mountain bike, and to have the national champ jersey is awesome.
Yeah, I'm so happy with that today. Yeah, to race against Dan and to be there with him and finish second to him is an honour. So, yeah, I'm stoked with today.
It's so dusty out there, but, yeah, it was just awesome to be back here. Like last year out with shoulder surgery and I was commentating. So, yeah, this year it's fantastic to be back here racing mountain bikes in Bright.
Well, as Stu, the commentator, did say that when you hit a tree, ooh, poor tree. But obviously you're back on mountain bike form. Are you going to stay on the dirt, or are you going to go back to that road stuff?
Yeah, I've always got a massive passion for the dirt. Obviously, my family's got a long history, and yeah, I always think about them out there, and especially my oldest brother who got hit by a car 10 years ago, and I just ride for him these days, and as long as I can stay on the mountain bike, I try and do the best I can.
Well, successful return to the dirt for you, Paul van der Ploeg. Bronze medal. Get yourself ready for the podium presentation. Well done.
Cheers, Scotty. Awesome.
The 2015 Subaru National Mountain Bike Championships Elite Men's Cross Country Podium.
What a great performance by Dan McConnell, taking out the gold medal in front of Brendan Johnson in silver. Big Paul van der Ploeg quite happy in the bronze medal position. And in the 23s, it was all Scott Bowden from start to finish. Chris Hamilton had the silver medal and Sebastian Jane in bronze. We'll be back with more after the break. Another feature event at the championships is the trials competition, and we have one of the world's best here in Australia in Janine Jungfels. Let's learn a little bit more about Janine.
Here in Australia, actually, like the profile's actually raised a lot over the past few years, especially having it in the main event village here. It's the best thing we can do for the sport, really, because the other riders can see it. So yeah, we're getting a couple more riders, and we've got some nice young riders like Jack coming through. He's really good on the bike now. The actual section levels were really good this year. As you can see, it's all man-made. The one in the back there with the concrete pipes, that was a nice one to start on. It was a bit easier. I had a bit of a brain fade and stuffed up a gap, but it was all right after that, got the nerves out. And then in the middle section, we had a lot of log sections. Yeah, it was once again really balancy. And then there was the water gap with the ducks floating in there. That was probably the most challenging.
On the world scene, you're right up there. You won a couple of World Cups last year. Been on the podium so many times. When are you going to win that world title?
This year, hopefully.
Let's give him a clap. Come on, Nathan Mummery from Victoria. Australian champion in 20-inch already. Let's get him up this obstacle. Come on, dog. Beautiful. Half pedal run up, and that's enough. That's all he needs now, dropping down. Making his way around to the water feature. Pedal up to rear on this log wall, and then the big gap across the water. He does not want to get wet. That'll affect the performance of his brakes and make his tyres slippery for the rest of the section. The pedal up's easy. Here goes the gap. Beautiful ride for Nathan. Nathan's clean on this section. That means he's on 0. Just one more element of the section to go, but we've seen how difficult this can be to maintain the balance and find the traction. Oh yes, as soon as he gets that tyre hooked over the top, he's got it. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, Nathan Mummery through section 2 for clean ride. So let's give him a round of applause to get him started. Andrew Dickey from Victoria, multiple Australian champion, very experienced rider. Beautiful pedal up and dropping the front wheel down on the next pole, perfectly set up for a 2-wheel switch. Switch to rear and drop down. Let's give him a clap for that. Beautiful start, Andrew. Now he'll be switching up onto this angled log to use it as a launching pad for the gap to front wheel on the 2 crates. And making that look easy. Now the big front gap. One of the very popular techniques in modern trials. As the gaps got bigger, the technique had to change to jump to front wheel first, and perfect. Using the bike to bridge part of the gap. Full commitment on the front wheel, front brake, sticking it to the next obstacle. Taking a very clever line through there. Now the gates are marked so that you have to go straight up this big angled log. Andrew managed to jump diagonally through the gate, across that log, and he's through that marker now. So he just needs to make it through the marker at the very top of the angled log. And he's well placed to do that now. 45 seconds remaining in this section. He's going to swing that back tyre over. Oh, yes. 30 seconds. Struggling with the balance there. We need to give him a clap and a cheer to get him through here. Oh, this. Oh. 15 seconds remaining on this section. He can do this. Come on, yes, he's perfectly lined up, and that's it. Nice.
From Victoria, the national champion for the Observed Trials Elite 26-inch class, Andrew Dickey.
Up next is one of the most exciting events here at the Championships. It's the cross-country Eliminator, and we're joined again by Mike Blewett from Australian Mountain Biking Magazine. Who's going to take these out?
Tough call. It's such a short race, you know, looking just over 2 minutes for each event. It's action-packed, but Paul van der Ploeg, 2013 Eliminator World Champ, hard to bet against, though Dan McConnell, he doesn't race them very often, but he's one of the world's best racers, so he can win what he likes.
He's so fit at the moment, isn't he, Dan McConnell? But there's such a contrast in the body types between those two guys.
Yeah, certainly. I mean, Paul's a really big guy, but he's actually looking fantastically lean at the moment. We saw his result coming third in the cross country, that he's in top shape.
Now in the women's category, there's no separate elite or under 23s. They're all in the mix together. Who do you think are the favourites there?
Well, you got your top riders like Beck and Peter again. Peter's 2014 champ. I would be surprised if she didn't come out on top, but M Parks could come through as well. Beck could be backing up. Who's to say?
Do you think Beck has got that sort of punch that, say, Peter Mullins has?
Maybe it's not as apparent, but clearly she does use it in cross-country racing, but it's clear that XCO is her outright focus. So Peter's quite an all-rounder, an astonishing all-rounder, and so she may well be looking to take a jersey home.
Well, she's also the Australian road cycling champion this year as well, so maybe she can take out a mountain bike title as well. Let's go straight to the action.
And the cross-country Eliminator is all about action. Short courses, technical elements. 2 go forward to the final, 2 get eliminated, Mike.
That's right, and it keeps the action close to spectators too. So the course, while it's on the field here, it actually goes right through the event village, through the tents, over some jumps, over some rollers, and into some of the best bits of single track for watching in the forest there, over the log jump, across the little double with the duck pond. It's a really tight track, less than 900 metres.
Well, the first semi-final in the women's. Number 1, the reigning champion Peter Mullins was the favourite. It's only 838 metres, 1 lap of the course. 2 go through, 2 are eliminated, and it's a fight into every corner.
As we saw some shoulder-to-shoulder action from Julia Boyer and Holly Harris, women heading their way around the corner.
It's a real tricky section there, that double jump there. As you can see, a few more obstacles out on course. Now they'll head out into the single track that we saw them use in the cross-country event.
And it's so important to get in first here, which Peter Mullins has done, but that's a sneaky use of the B line there.
Oh, and you can see the result of it as well. The difference between the A and the B lines and the 2 different speeds are coming together between the 2 riders. And maybe Holly Harris is going to get some benefit from that. She gets herself from 4th now up into 3rd. Peter Mullins quite comfortably around the final corner. She will make her way into the final. Who will be the second rider to go through?
And that benefit does go to Holly Harris, and the young gun from the New England crew has pedalled her way up into the elite women's final for the Eliminator.
Well, we have 2 riders into the final. Which 2 will come now as we see Beck Henderson, number 15 on the right-hand side. Not super quick getting into her pedals. It's Emily Parks, the first rider into the marquee.
So Em's leading out, coming up through the double here, choosing to roll over it.
And look, Em brings a fair amount of short course form. She challenged Beck over and over in last year's National Series in the shorter discipline. She's got a fair bit of power.
And clearly she won over Holly Harris in the under 23s in a sprint, and her bike handling second to none. She's heading off to Crankworks very soon.
Well, out in front at the moment, Beck Henderson in 2nd position, and it's Edwina Hughes in 3rd. So it might be a race between those 3 as they come around the final corner. And once again, it's still out in front. Emily Parks, Beck Henderson, and there's a gap back to 3rd now. So those 2 having to just ease off the throttle just a little bit and save some energy, comfortably go through into the final.
As we see the start of the first men's semi, and Paul van der Ploeg, the 2013 Eliminator World Champion, no surprises that he's amongst it, and look at the line that he held into the tent, Mike.
It's a very close line, but look at Cam Ivory, he's right on Paul's wheel, he's not going to let him go today.
Well, this could almost be a final. Look at the calibre of this first semi-final. Paul van der Ploeg, the world champ, as you said, you'd expect him to be able to go through, but with the quality of this field, this could be very close.
Still all together, it's going to come round to probably that one last feature into the corner.
Cam Ivory first into the final corner. Paul van der Ploeg, a look over the shoulder to see where Dan McConnell is. Dan has given up. He realises he's not going to go through. Ivory and van der Ploeg through to the final.
And we have semi-final number 2. The gun goes, and Brian Duncan with the pedal slip off the line. That's going to hurt.
Yeah, but it's allowed both Torque riders to lead in. That's Tristan Ward and Liam Jeffries leading Chris Aitken.
As they come up to the double jump now, Ward out in front. Duncan trying to make up for that pedal mishap at the start. Oh, and he's over the top of the double. Good result. Oh, not a good result, though. Liam Jeffries now loses the wheel as he comes around the corner. Duncan was making up so much ground there, so much speed coming into the double jump. Now those 2 riders really caught behind. It looks like perhaps it's going to be a race in 2.
It does seem to have decided it. Chris Aitken following closely with his aero helmet, but it's definitely Tristan Ward and Chris Aitken taking out this semi.
They can really relax now. They know they've got a final coming up in just a couple of minutes, just cruising across the line. So we have our final of 4.
And now it's the elite women's Eliminator final. It's the two leaders of the sport, Mullins and Henderson, and the two young guns chasing them, Harris and Parks.
And it's Parks who's got the whole shot here through the tent. Very tight line through there for all four women.
Well, Mullins and Henderson really coming together into that chicane. Up to the double jump now. Ladies not taking the double, as we saw in the semi-final of the men. Parks out in front. This is going to be a good battle between Mullins and Henderson. Look at that real bit of biffo there. Argy-bargy between the two.
It's so important to get in first with this section, and Parks is still leading this race. Mullins is just about right on a wheel.
One lap less for Parks yesterday in the Olympic race. Can that pay to her benefit?
She could be that bit fresher. She might just be that more confident too. She did win a national title yesterday. Is she going to take a second though?
Well, the fighting between Mullins and Henderson has enabled Parks to get a little bit of a lead over those two, but there has been an issue. Oh, look at the dirt all over Mullins there. She has come down. Now Beck Henderson has gone into second position.
It's a big gap to close though. I think Em's going to be able to just ride to victory from here.
And this will be her first victory at the elite level. The 2015 Eliminator champion, Em Parks, across the line. And as we see, just holding out for second place there, Beck Henderson the silver, Mullins the bronze.
How good was that racing?
We interviewed the right person before the start. You took out the victory. How good was that?
Oh, it was bloody unreal. I just missed my pedal off the start and I was like, oh, the girls are gaining, and then the second I got my pedal in, just the surge came out of nowhere. I was just trying not to look behind the whole way. I heard them and looking through them through the forest. Yeah, it was unreal.
How hard is that, knowing you can hear them, they're right behind you, but you don't dare look back?
Oh, honestly, it's like someone's hunting you down. It was just like my cross-country race. You can just see them through the bush and you can't tell how far away they are, but you know they're there, and it's just scary.
What does it mean to you to take out an Eliminator national title?
Oh, a lot. It's very surreal at the moment, but 2 titles in 1 weekend, I'm very stoked indeed.
The elite women's Eliminator podium.
And stoked she should be. Emily Parks picking up her second gold medal for the weekend, taking out the cross-country Eliminator ahead of Beck Henderson in silver and Peter Mullins with the bronze.
The gun goes for the men's final. Paul van der Ploeg leads them off again. Can he take gold?
It's a clear hole shot into the tent, and we're going to have to see what pops out the other side. Still Big Paul in the lead. Tristan Ward glued to his rear wheel though.
Still just taking it easy over the double jump there. We've only seen the one rider clear both of them. It ended up with a crash straight after the corner as well. But Paul van der Ploeg now heading out into the single track. Guys, can he take a little bit more control here? Once they get onto the single track, it's so difficult to pass. Can he just back off a little bit and bring his heart rate down to get ready for that sprint at the end?
Look, I'd say so. He can completely control it at this point. We've seen people try to get past in the B line, but we've also seen some crashes from people trying. So it just depends how desperate both Tristan Ward, Cam Ivory and Chris Aitken are.
And let's remember, Paul is a monster on a bike, 6'1.5" or thereabouts. He's big, he's wide, he's really hard to find room to get past.
He might block them with his personality alone, so we'll have to wait to see what happens when they hit the open stretch.
Well, they're on it now, and Tristan Ward taking up the challenge to Paul van der Ploeg, coming up to the final corner now.
He's right on the inside of there. Paul's had to push wide, but is that going to slow him down?
It looks like nothing will slow him down. Paul van der Ploeg lays the power down, lifts up the wheel, the national champion.
Paul, you're a big man, and you're the big favourite before the start. You lived up to the hype.
Yeah, it's a lot of pressure with the old world title resting on it, but yeah, I missed last year. It was awesome to be back here this year. Great course, great spectators, just really a well-run event.
Well, you didn't have it all your own way. You were second coming into almost the last corner, so you had to fight for that win.
Yeah, it was a full battle. Tristan, second fastest qualifier. I didn't see him all day, and then we met in the finals because of the knockout round. So unknown quantity, and he was flying, like super powerful through the corners, and I was just lucky that I had a little bit extra at the end.
Now, you love this stuff. You're going to stay on the dirt now, maybe go to the World Championships again this year, or you're going to go back onto the road?
Yeah, I'd love to be in Andorra. It'd be sick if I was there in September and give the world title another crack. I mean, it's such a perfect event for me. Like, it's sprinting, which is what I'm good at, and then mountain biking, which is what I love, so it's a perfect combo.
Amazing effort from Paul, backing up from yesterday's bronze medals.
And he swapped bikes too, so went for the 29er hardtail to take today's title.
And a gold medal it was to Paul van der Ploeg, silver to Tristan Ward, bronze, that went to Cameron Ivory. 3 great performances, and we'll see more great action after the break.